Hi friends, how are you? I think I'm now on part 4 of this full moon in Libra coming up. I started the series on March 30th because it's so flipping huge, humongous big. I feel like I've had to go very quiet within because all this information was coming. I know you guys know that I kind of signed off for a while. I mean, there was a lot going on in the background here too. But I would say the past couple months, I've been really going deep within, and I think it's because of all this, because it is exploding everywhere. Everywhere. Thank you guys so much. All your feedback. I love that tonight I posted the video, the update number 3, and so many of you came on right away. Did you listen to Cash Peters? Because this goes totally corroborates with it. Well, it does. His vision completely describes all of the stuff I've been doing with the eclipse clicks and the stories I've been trying to tell since last July. It follows the timeline completely. I don't even think he follows me. But thank you guys so much for letting me know. I've been watching his stuff. I don't think he's been watching my stuff. That's why I said that. So there's that. These are the things I want to talk with you about in this video. Everyone kept talking about the Jupiter-Pluto conjunction because it only happens once every 13 years. And that's a huge aspect. And it has to do with insane amounts of wealth and power. We had the conjunction, but then Jupiter went on its way. They're separating. So now Pluto is the leading planet. Pluto is the planet of judgment, harsh judgments, things that change you forever. The tarot at this full moon chose judgment. Oh wait, that's FBI. Where is judgment? The tarot chose the card judgment in this area that has to do with public servants, investigations, the military, our agencies, etc., etc. Think of the Hermit card. The Hermit card has been showing up all over the place. The FBI and our intelligence agencies, they both drew the card judgment here in this area. See that? 9th house, lands far away. Whose house is that? Putin, still Putin's house. Judgment coming down. So, whereas judgment is also power, Jupiter, as the world is spinning, these two so close together, Jupiter was leading Pluto, judgment. So Jupiter had the worldly expansion, expanding everywhere. What have we been seeing expanding everywhere the last 2 weeks? La CERVEZA virus. And it's been hammering everyone with judgment. You. And attacking everyone, and people are dying. Now those roles flipped. Now Pluto is leading Jupiter. Pluto is saying, I judge this, I judge that, I judge this, I see that. Jupiter already expanded the playing field, but now Pluto is in charge of judgment on that expansive playing field. And with Jupiter behind it, judgment is going to have incredibly good luck and fortune doling out judgments. Kind of cool, huh? We have this, this Mars-Saturn square to Uranus. Explosive stuff, not only with health, illness, but we're talking about communications, we're talking about government workers, we're talking about authority, we're talking about with Neptune at the midpoint, which has to do with confusion and the illness that's been spreading, and Mercury neighborhoods and people. Huge stuff is going down. But here's the thing, you guys. Remember, if this is the east-west horizon and we're standing on the ground and we're looking at the sun rise and we watch it set, well, this is the other side of the world, and this is where all the other planets are. So these planets, from our vantage point, are beneath the horizon. We don't see this stuff, okay? So everything I've been talking about, this full moon, we're only going to see the moon in the night sky, and we, the people, have Venus favor on our side, okay? But otherwise, we can't see the president. We can't see the judgments. We can't see the courts. We can't see the authority. We can't see all the action going on underneath. But on the other side of the world with judgment, all that activity is above the horizon for them. So whatever's going on with intelligence, it is probably going to get a foothold around the world on the other side of the world. We can't see it. It probably will not be reported in the news. We'll probably find out about it later. We'll probably get hit with trolls and misinformation so that when this does kind of filter over here, we will have already heard a different narrative and be like, oh, that's no big deal. Judgment is off. No. Pay attention, okay? So if you see here, I have these red squares. I threw the tarot cards for the FBI and our intelligence agencies. The one on the top is the FBI. The one beneath is the intelligence agencies. And can I just tell you how happy I was to see that the FBI, what's giving them life this week, their cards on their ascendant. Ta-da! Speaker Pelosi. Dan Julio, the candidate. Boom. Oh, hi, Russia. That is what's giving them life, charge, and focus. I'm going to use this one as the Department of Interior, for example. I want you to know same things are going on with all of these other agencies, the Department of Education, FEMA, HHS, CDC, Energy Department, and the EPA. I haven't gotten to the Treasury yet, but no, there's a lot of BS going on. DeVos is hugely involved, as is Eric Prince, as is Elaine Chao, facilitating all this stuff. As are Jared and Josh Kushner, as are their wives, Ivanka and Kelly, I don't know what her name is. And we have been sending PPE as recently as April 3rd. And we've had extra shipments of PPE going out to Uzbekistan, and another one I can't remember. I'm going to throw on these because you will see in the part 3, we discovered what they were doing behind the scene while the world is distracted by La Cerveza and looking for PPE. They're doing the worst imaginable with global hijacking of the worldwide, the web, the servers, the traffic, all rerouted through I'll just spell it out because I don't want to say it because I don't think this will get published then. Through this is the telecommunications carrier, the state telecommunications carrier for Stub. You know why we call him Stub, right? Because when he was in KGB, that was his nickname. Because he was so short, they called him Stub. He was a coffee boy. True story. Okay, so hijacked everything. And all the traffic went through their stuff. See part 3. This is part 4. So what I want to show to you, okay, so we're dealing with 2 separate major issues here. We have this La Cerveza. I can't say it because, you know, I'll get demonetized because that's a trigger word. You know, it's the reason why everyone's at home and school's called off and people are working from home. There's that. There's this other thing that has evolved out of that with Josh and Jared Kushner working with 6-1's mob to steal data everywhere and from our agencies. And there are agencies, for entertainment purposes only, there are agencies that know about this and who are actively working with them. But I don't think they realize how vulnerable I feel like they think they're just carrying on with their little back channel, little gig for elections. But it's like there's a massive heist that's going on that they don't realize. That's the impression I'm getting. So with this Taroscope, hey Nancy. The other thing giving the tarot life this week is the Fool. You guys know for me, the Fool, those are sealed indictments. Those are people that get charged. Once they're arrested, they're the Fool. We have many Fools here. I listed some before. The EPA has a Fool. The Department of Education has a Fool. Kyrgyzstan, Kazakhstan, they both have Fools. Okay, this goes back to, what is it called? Was it the one he called to? This relates to the arrest that was made on February 17th with this guy, Anisimov. He's like the back channel money launderer, I think, with Naz, because Paul M. also used the same money launderers that went through Kazakhstan and Kyrgyzstan. Kyrgyzstan and Kazakhstan got secondary shipments of PPE last week. Okay, and then Turkmenistan did. All these countries, Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan, Morocco shows up, Mongolia, Thailand, Philippines, Laos, Tajikistan, Thailand. They're all part of like the hackers and the money laundering and the ways to avoid sanctions, even with Iran. All the sanctioned countries have money going through here, and that's what's going on. And this guy plays such a huge role in that, and he was arrested on February 17th. Who else? There's more fools. There's lots. Here's a fool. Oh, Macron, because he got taken advantage of, or he's being set up. Maduro, his secret, the fool. Maduro, Venezuela, and Donald have an agreement here as world leaders. KJU, Kim Jong-un, has the Fool card in hacking. We have more fools. Stub Putin. Where else? New York Attorney General has the paperwork. Junior. Zuck. Okay. And if you happen to glance here and you see like a 7C and a 7S theft, and if you see an Ace of Pentacles, this is the thing that just started showing up with the heist with that telecommunications thing. It was an article just posted today in Security. This is what they did last week. Stole. So wherever you see the Ace of Pentacles, especially reversed, that was stolen data, stolen information. And I think I talked about that as well. The entry 50% poof, that was stolen test data. And for whatever reason, YouTube is trying to hide that one. It is so obvious to me. So, shall we take a look at the Department of Interior? I know I have tons of information to share. I know it's complex. I just want to get it documented, but I want to share it with you guys because we've gone through so much and you guys have kept up with me. I mean, think about this. How many of you didn't know astrology? You still say you don't know astrology, but yet you understand this? You were meant to do this too. Okay, let's start here. This is a full moon over Washington, D.C. on April 7th, Tuesday at 10:36 p.m., 29 seconds. We're just going to start with the Department of the Interior, okay? And we'll just go one by one by one. So this is the FBI card. Their target, the thing giving them their identity this week, has everything to do with the King of Wands. This is my Angry Putin card. It's also MBS. So they're already looking abroad. This is what their mission is. Oh, and look at this. The Department of Interior also had the King of Wands. This is who they are. And if the FBI is looking overseas, they are looking over here to this section where they already drew the Judgment card with the IC. Whatever they have it. And they're cracking down. I hope they crack down. I don't know how this fits with all the agencies being closed because of COVID-19. The intelligence agencies are looking at how this department, for example, has been blending their data with Russia. In this area of assets, oh wait, before I go on. So not only are we looking at the King of Wands, the astrology card says look to their partnerships. So when you look to their partnerships and who they're looking at, Angry Putin, partnerships with the Five of Cups. The Five of Cups is Russia, China, and how they hang on to elections. The intel agencies are looking at the Nine of Pentacles, the oligarchs / Elaine Chao. So who is the Department of Interior? Who are they in partnership with? The Knight of Swords. I think this has to do with the heist of the intelligence, the information that's being taken. And this is a solar eclipse click date. Yes, and it has to do with the lovers, Trump, Russia, and the deal that they made, and their partnership on intelligence and also misinformation, okay? When we look at this area of income, now remember, this is where Pluto is leading Jupiter now. This area of income gains values, the thing that they value like data, re-elections. This says, look to the 10th house, the world card, this area. What's happening worldwide? Well, the FBI is looking at the assault that is being, you know, done to all of us, not only from intelligence, but assaulting the world with this virus, this airborne virus. And they're looking at the agreements that have been made. The Department of Interior has the Page of Cups. So the Department of Interior in the area of income has a Page of Cups that has an agreement to carry things out with, oh, Donald. The interesting thing too here is, well, we'll just stay here. So the Page of Cups through the Department of Interior, there's lots of Page of Cups. It could be Josh Kushner. It could be Lev Parnas. It could be Prince. It could be Mo Flotus. A lot of Page of Cups have been revealing themselves. People who've been at, oh, this Hyde guide. This Hyde. Huh. Robert Hyde. He's the one that Rudy hired. Hyde is the one that stalked Yovanovitch in Ukraine. Hyde is the one that has over 10 million N95 masks that's something of value that he was bidding off and somehow posted it on Twitter, he might be the Page of Cups. We look at this sector of communication, reasoning, how we talk to one another. Well, here we've got Mars, Saturn. Something is coming down. The FBI is looking at the government without rules. Basically, that our government has been run over. Who is part of this that has destroyed the rules and protocol within our government and their agencies and how we operate, especially with our PPE? The intel agencies are looking at the secondary problem, the heist of data going through this. That is denoted by the star. This is what the star is this week. So this is the intel agencies looking at all that, plus this thing with the star. Department of Interior, communications through the Five of Cups. This is Russia, China. Movable objects. Bye, see ya, PPE. See ya. Sending it off. Yeah, and this also relates to partnerships as well. The fifth house. Oh my God. Oh my God. Look at this. This area this is Donald's place. Look, at the sun is there too. I have always told you guys what the Knight of Wands are always Donald's financial burdens. So the Department of Interior here has Donald's financial burdens. The FBI is looking at his agreements. Oh, look, Maduro is there as well. Because Donald and Maduro both drew the Two of Cups in this area. So the FBI, in my opinion, is looking at Donald and Maduro, their agreement on how the Department of Interior is going to carry Donald's financial burdens. Go to the third house. To the devil, Putin. Well, the Department of Interior is sending off PPE and everything like that to Russia, China on his behalf. Isn't that crazy? Now, the most exciting part with this full moon was that the fourth, everything bearing down on Washington, D.C., our defenses, our home base, who we are, how we nurture and care for each other. And so if you think of a tarot reading, this is the base of a reading. This area is what's crowning the reading. These things both have Scorpio. What's happening on the ground in DC is Scorpio transforming things. There's the Knight of Swords, and I am betting that's intel agencies. What's crowning Washington, D.C. is the 8th house of beginnings and endings. Beginnings and endings and transformations are happening. They're looking for, the FBI now is looking at the Two of Pentacles. This is how Russia taps in, kind of like a back channel or a microchip, taps in and blends data with our data. If you think of these pentacles as data, Russia takes their data, blends it with ours, takes theirs, blend it with ours, little by little. So nobody can really tell. They do it in, microscopic steps. That's going to be transformed, according to the FBI. This is what the FBI is focused on with the defense of the United States. The Department of the Interior, on the other hand, what's bearing down on them? The Five of Swords. This is the Mafia card. It's been Paul Manafort in the past. It could be a host of these yahoos, but Five of Swords usually is like, the Mafia. Oh, Cadre had the Five of Swords. Don't even get me started with that. And Jared. But, those are like the hired hitmen to do their thug things. Six of Cups. Oh my God, if this is Cadre and Jared, and these are Jared's tax returns, See, that's the thing. We've been talking about tax returns. I've said before, I don't think we necessarily need to have Donald's tax returns. If the kids or Jared show, and even Josh, show negotiations or tax returns indicating the Trump organization and the agreements that they have with other autocrats, sanctioned people, by default, Donald has a problem too. I don't think you necessarily have to have his tax returns. So this is our Department of the Interior. This is our defense. Thugs. Thug mafia at the interior. Stealing crap. We talked about this. Now. This area has to do with our public servants, our agencies, our military, the CDC, our doctors, our people, the professionals that we consult for improvement. Usually health, though. This is diet and exercise and taking care of yourself. Remember, I said judgment rules the day now. Judgment. The tarot said in this area of public servants, judgment is the most important thing. The planet Uranus is there, meaning sudden, unexpected surprises. The FBI has the Ace of Cups. If you've been following my things, you know that the Ace of Cups, since December, has to do with the op. When Lavrov, Lavrov, came over to Washington, D.C., I think it was the day that around there they took the vote in the House to impeach Donald. Lavrov was there, and over time we figured out this Ace of Cups was a thing, like a device, like something you could, a microchip or something you could plug into like a mobile phone, like an iPhone, so they could bypass U.S. intelligence. Why would they need to do that? Well, when you're planning a big pandemic and a data heist, you need that. The FBI is looking into this. This is not the Nine of Swords. Why is this here? Oh, the Nine of Swords. Oh, the Nine of Swords. Okay, so that's the nightmare. The intel communities are looking at the spread of this nightmare and how it's being managed by public workers. Meanwhile, the Department of Interior, they're consulting with the moon, China, Elaine Chao, as a public worker to move stuff around. And the astrology says we're going to find out the truth here. So this stuff is going on the other side of the world. We're not going to necessarily see it, okay? In this area, which has to do with we the people or partnerships, the FBI, among the people, they're looking at the Five of Cups. How did China, Russia do their thing on U.S. soil? What's going on here? This stuff is getting triggered by our solar eclipses. This is huge. And I talk about that in part 1 and part 2 of this April 7th full moon. This, the tarot says the most important card was the Lovers. Trump, Russia. We the people. The Department of Interior has the Knight of Swords assaulting us with intelligence or taking our intelligence. We can't even see it. It's like we're invisible. But this Knight of Pentacles, this is Elaine Chao. She's down here, the moon, the work she does for China. As a person, she's the Nine of Pentacles. There you go. And this is Russia, China. She's in so much trouble, you guys. In this area of shared resources, it's like shared money, shared debt, shared data, shared projects. The FBI is looking at the Emperor because we have a shared Emperor. I've been saying this lately. That Donald, for me, has not been solely coming up as the Emperor. He is more at the behest of Putin. And now he's been relegated to the King of Pentacles. This is more Putin than anything else. But the Emperor is shared by the U.S. and Russia. This is what the FBI is looking at. They're looking at the sacrifices made by Neptune. The sacrifices our public servants and our civilians and our Americans and people worldwide have made because they were hit by this virus. That's what the FBI is looking at. The intel agencies are looking at the King of Cups. That stub. The Southern District of New York also drew this card when it comes to the SDN. Oh my God. A-Rod. Rodriguez. The baseball player, the New York Yankees. I talked about this in the last video because Donald talked to him about what to do with the coronavirus. It's because he's an investor in Josh and Jared's thing, whatever. A-Rod is connected to the King of Cups. The Three of Cups. This has to do, usually it has to do with elections, but I feel like this is more this thing that, like the coronavirus, this heist with the data, and then just thieving, taking everything from our agencies. It's much bigger than that. And then the tarot said the most important card that belonged here was the Five of Cups, Russia, China, shared resources. The FBI drew it for we, the people, the civilians. The tarot said, look bigger. Look at the things that we share. This area, lands far away, Putin's house, 9th house. The FBI drew judgment. They're all over this. So did the intelligence. I mean, I've never seen this like this. The other person that's going to be judged, who also drew the judgment card here in this 9th house, Facebook. The tarot says the Eight of Wands is active here for speed. Speed. Oh my God. The Department of the Interior drew the World card. Consummation, a successful ending. Whatever they needed to get over here, they did it. What's crowning Washington, D.C.? Well, the FBI says we're looking at the Republican Party. The intel agencies say we have the sun. I don't have that card, but you know, Revelations. Donald drew the sun at this full moon. We're going to find out more. The tarot said, look to the government. There's a Hierophant. And what's crowning Washington, D.C., beginnings and endings with our shared resources over here. The Department of Interior drew the Devil. Stub Putin. The Department of Interior has Putin all over them with this full moon. Kind of scary. In this area of hopes, wishes, friends, science, revolution.
I don't know who your friend is. In fact,
Oh my God.
who you are. But you can tell me in Siri settings. Tap on my info and then choose yourself from your contacts.
Okay, my daughter's phone. I'm not talking to you, Siri. Siri thinks that I'm talking to her. Anyway, the FBI is looking at the tower moment that's happening here in the U.S. The intelligence agencies are looking at the assault on we the people, the the Ace of Swords that's been unleashed on us. Ivanka also drew the Ace of Swords here, like the intel agencies. Department of Interior drew the Five of Wands. That's obstruction, that's infighting. It's also like the distraction. It's a very Kremlin-y thing. I don't feel like there's exactly fighting going on. I think they're fending off the government. And in the area of secrets, hidden enemies, the FBI drew the Two of Wands. They've got a hidden plan. Hidden enemies, the Eight of Wands, time. Things are going so quickly. Department of Interior, they have the Ace of Swords is their secret, what they're unleashing on our government, the people, the agency, and their hidden enemy is the fact that they don't realize that this agency is stealing all of their things. I haven't even gotten through all of this, you guys, but it just keeps, everything keeps coming up and pushing towards this. So that's part 4. Really interesting. Okay, you guys, thanks so much. Please like this video. That helps me if you like it, and subscribe. Check your notifications because it looks like they're getting turned off again, okay? Thanks.